Hello and good morning, everybody. This is Jake. I want to welcome you guys to another live Land Effects webinar. We have another fun special treat for you today. We'll do our traditional FXCAD webinar by our lovely Amanda. We want to cover, what's new, how to get it, all that fun stuff. Before we really get started, though, want to do a few house cleaning items. I know there will be questions. I would ask if you guys please use the Q&A button on your screen to ask those questions. You will also see a chat button. That is fair game for people to chat and banter back and forth, but if you could please keep those questions to the Q&A box, we will be able to answer those either live or typed out to you guys. So this is being recorded. We will be able to watch this over and over and over because it's going to be so cool. So that should be posting no later than Monday, but that will be there for if you miss anything. Past that, I'm going to turn this over to Amanda. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jake. And yeah, so hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Marin, and I get to show off the latest FXCAD again this year to all of you. It is the best time of the year to do this. So FXCAD was 2026 was released on June 17th. So this past Tuesday from when we're recording this. And FXCAD, just as a reminder, switched to subscription in 2024. So the 2024 version of FXCAD. So that means anybody on FXCAD 2024 or 2025, you all have a subscription. Your office does, and you can request to upgrade to 2026 immediately if you would like to, without needing to go through the budget office again or anything like that. No more purchases. You just upgrade when you're ready. So you guys can sit back this year, and while I first go through a bit of what FXCAD is and how it's a bit different from AutoCAD, just kind of for those who are new to it and might be considering switching over to it. And then for you returning FXCAD users, I've got all the good stuff you need so you can go to your CAD manager and suggest an upgrade sometime this year, closer to the end. So of course, though, let's go through this. The For those who are new to FXCAD but might be using Land Effects, or you're just kind of considering FXCAD, what are the benefits? Everybody agrees. It's not just us saying it. We love it when you guys affirm this to us regularly. We always get it that our support is the best. We at least get one person telling us this every single week. We just had ours from this week. It was fantastic. It lights up our day every time. So thank you for those who care enough to reach out and give us that kind of feedback and support. But our technical support is the best. It takes a whole team to make this every year, every single person and dog pictured here. So that's why I include them all. They all push this to the finish line of this week, making sure it's absolutely perfect and that it is the best installation process for you, and that we can kind of put our rubber stamp on it as Land Effects. Because with FXCAD, you get Land Effects support team as your CAD support as well, not just for the Land Effects tools, but also for your CAD, for help during those sticky times where you just really need to reach out to somebody. So the fact that we have our phone number right here, as well as our email, and you can get a hold of us and we will get back to you same day. I mean, that speaks volumes to the values we hold there and what makes this special. It just, in a bad day, will be there for you, is basically it. So everybody sticks basically with FXCAD, at least just to get a little bit of that, to know that somebody's got your back. So we're going to dive into the technical portion. So I have this every year. I update it every year just as a reminder that FXCAD 2021 is expiring at the end of 2025. So if that's you, please reach out to us. It is time to do that right now to get your plan in place to make sure that you are valid by the end of the year, because as of the stroke of midnight of January 1st, 2026, you will not have support any longer for 2020 or for 2021. So you need to make sure that you are all set up well in advance. So now's the time. And then if you are let's see, yeah, once you, after that point, then we support 2022 through 2026. But remember that these 2022 and 2023 are the last two perpetual versions. And this counts for not just FXCAD, but also full AutoCAD as well. However, if you are with full AutoCAD, that has been subscription since all the way back here. So it's very much easier. You can just go up to 2026 right now. It's worth it. So let's go through a little bit about what is FXCAD if you're not familiar with it. If you're with full AutoCAD right now and you're looking for some more budget-friendly options for your office, this is for you. Maybe you're a graduating student starting to look at creating a new business and you want to figure out what to buy. This might be a good option for you. Or even maybe if you're somebody looking to move to an AutoCAD drafting environment from another software or from even hand drawing. We still get people coming from hand drawing. You might be wondering what makes FXCAD different than everything else and why this is a good fit for you. So the key here is that this is, in particular, it requires an active Land Effects license. This is a customized OEM of AutoCAD for Windows only. That means that we work with Autodesk. We take AutoCAD LT and we customize it to support Land Effects as a plugin only. And then we give it a facelift to optimize it and to simplify it for landscape and irrigation designers, and then also for new to CAD learners. We're really trying to keep that as a focus of making it easier to learn. So it does require that separate Land Effects subscription to run as well, a separate subscription from the FXCAD subscription. And you would need either planting FX or irrigation FX. It's supported by us, but it is genuine. And you will see it, although it is Windows only, you can run it on a Mac, and we all do here at the office. You will see once I go into it that I am on a Mac and I'm running it through Parallels and have been for the 10 years that I've been here. And it's been absolutely fine. I came from a Windows environment too, so it works just fine. But there's some important things to note that FXCAD can't do compared to the full AutoCAD. We want you to use the software that you need, and we do not want to give you software that you do not need. Because we offer such great support, we don't want you to be unnecessarily frustrated. So we're going to be honest with you and tell you when FXCAD is not for you and when it is. So importantly, we have pared it down. So one of the big things is that you can only run basic Lisps on it, just the same functionality as AutoCAD LT. And the only complex plugin or Lisp that you can install on it is Land Effects. That's it. So if you're looking at a Lisp that is more complex than a command line entry, it won't run on FXCAD. If that is important to your workflow, this is not for you. So you can geolocate your plans, your DWG files, but you cannot import a geolocated file or TIFF. So that means if you XREF or attach a TIFF or any other file that is already geolocated in its file, that geolocation will not automatically locate in your plan. That functionality requires actually a vertical of full AutoCAD. That's AutoCAD Map or Civil 3D. So those are the only two AutoCAD platforms that can do something like that. I think Survey can too as well. But they're verticals. So it's not the basic AutoCAD, it's the vertical of AutoCAD that can do that, and it's the Civil 3D that can do that. So that's why FXCAD cannot do that. There's no 3D, there's no lighting, there's no rendering. So that's the command limited part in this list. But we've had FXCAD for well, you saw the slide before since like I think it said 2012. So for over 10 years, almost 15 years. And everybody's been fine with it. They find that the 3D environment in SketchUp or Rhino is a lot better suited to landscape design, and now increasingly Revit. However, if you're using Revit, you're probably all the way over in Revit. You're not really using CAD too much anymore. One thing you can do that not a lot of people realize is that you can actually view Civil 3D objects in FXCAD. So if you get a drawing, a DWG file from a civil engineer or a surveyor, and it has like green boxes or in it or things aren't visible, you can actually see those things if the drawing is set up correctly. We do have guides on how to either change your visibility settings to see it temporarily and then fix it so that it's a bit more simplified, or to install the object enabler and then again fix the drawing so it's visible in regular AutoCAD. But it can view civil drawings exactly the same way full AutoCAD can. So, uh, and then importantly, though, I want to say it again, and I'm going to be saying it often, that land effects can be installed onto FXCAD, and you do need land effects installed on it in order for it to actually open and run. So you need to pull a land effects license. Okay. Let's go over to the licensing then information and knock off all of those questions that people always have. So again, FXCAD 2021 to 2023 is perpetual still. That means you don't have to upgrade and you don't have to pay anything until you actually upgrade and you choose to. But 2024 through 2026 are subscription. So this 2027 date is again a reminder that that is the last day that those on the 2023 perpetual will need to get onto the latest version. And I hope each year as you're watching this, you get a little bit more and more FOMO of the things you're missing out on by sticking down there and not upgrading yet, because this one's actually pretty good. It's short but very nice. So if you already are on the subscription, you have access right now. I usually do recommend that maybe wait a month or two just until an update comes out, because we follow along with the regular AutoCAD updates. So again, this is based on AutoCAD. So we are rolling in the actual AutoCAD updates. We have no control over those. We just put them through as they come out. And so it's kind of the same general rule as when regular AutoCAD comes out, of maybe just wait a bit until they get all the initial bugs. But who knows, you might actually like what's new this year enough to switch. and it's pretty stable. I haven't had many issues at all, other than some things we've already fixed. We were able to fix up pretty well on our end. So, what does subscription mean? That means it's that annual subscription cost of $775, and you can remain on, sorry, 2026 for 3 versions before needing to upgrade. And it does not include your land effects license renewal, so you will have to tack onto that the cost of whichever land effects license you have chosen to go with. And but you would need to do that with full AutoCAD as well, or Civil 3D. And then it does include the technical support for CAD issues and issues with land effects. And then you can upgrade now, but we recommend waiting a bit. Let's keep going. Who should switch? So FXCAD is a great fit for land effects users who basically love the tool set and love the support. But in particular, it's also great for sole practitioners who want land effects, planting, irrigation, lighting, or detail tools, but always had AutoCAD LT before, which can't install plugins like that. So this is kind of like that little step up. You basically get all the exact same functionality as you had with LT, but now you get all the additional tools of land effects, which is a crazy payback value. Like, you will easily make back your money within a month, I'd say, very easily. So it's more budget friendly for that situation, but also for larger firms considering to reduce your budget by pairing certain drafters with just what you need, what they need, sorry, the tools they need, instead of, like, for instance, pairing a landscape designer with no grading experience with a Civil 3D license. So I personally have done that kind of mixed fleet in an office before I started working here at LandFX, and it worked out great. I had the Civil 3D license, and some of my support designers were on FXCAD, and it worked just fine, and it still works just fine. So you can also then rely on us to only put out FXCAD. So when we are confident that we can support it to our high standards. And you want that support, as I keep repeating. So that is one way of, like, that kind of check. Okay, I don't have to worry about that. So if you can check any of these boxes, then FXCAD might be a great fit for you. And if you have decided to go with it, let's look at how to get there. This is also helpful for, this section's also going to be helpful for those who have FXCAD 2021 through 2025 and you're looking to upgrade. So the big thing that has changed with the installation process is you will see on the documentation page to install FXCAD 2026 that there are now 2 download files to the same folder. We had to do this for some licensing items, and you'll see at the end of the installation process, there's an extra box that pops up that says that FXCAD licensing was correctly set up. So you will need to make sure that you download both of these files on that page, and here's what they look like. They should both be in the same folder. Your downloads folder is fine. And then you will want to run only the EXE part of this. You'll go through the installer. All of the steps are screenshotted and gone through step by step in that documentation page. And then afterwards, for step 5, you do need to remember to configure that FX workstation in order to get the ribbons, the land effects ribbons, into FXCAD. So you will need to download and run the latest workstation EXE. If you're in a multidisciplinary office, make sure that you save that EXE into your shared land effects folder and run it from there. And it's actually quite easy. It'll take you under half an hour to install it, easy. probably under 10 minutes from downloading it to actually having it installed. It's pretty fast. So this is what it looks like. Really hasn't changed at all in the last few years, in case you're curious. But it's just got a little bit of an extra step to get you that support ID in and set it up for land effects right off the bat. And double check you have the licensing. It will ask if you want to run it as a trial or run it as a purchase. Just make sure if you, let's go back over to here, switch to trial. Make sure that if you just like that day requested the upgrade from your 2024 or 2025 to the 2026, you do need to wait like a day or two for us to get the serial number back from Autodesk. So just make sure that if you're installing it the same day as requesting that, that you keep it on a trial until you get that serial number back from us, and then you can follow the steps to activate it. But if you already have the serial number, you requested the upgrade a few days ago, then you can keep it here. Don't click switch to trial and just go to next and follow the steps to activate it. It installs, but we include these wonderful pictures from our photo contests in years past by you guys. Reminder that that deadline is next week for June 27th for our photo contest this year. Great prizes. Do check it out. It's on our homepage. And here it is installed. Very similar, a few less items in the installation process, just kind of keeping only what you need in here. Adding our own splash screen so you know that it's FXCAD that you are running. And then in terms of the processes that it runs, it's pretty much identical at this point of it just how much CPU it uses or whatever is largely dependent on what you're doing at the moment. But otherwise, most of the stuff here is about the same. One of the big items that is different between them, though, is the ribbon. So we did this a long time ago, around when I first started working here. This was one of my first projects, was customizing the AutoCAD ribbon, because this was one of the things I never liked about the AutoCAD ribbon, was how hard it was to learn at first, because it was so tiny and no words, and everything was hidden under these guys. Like, these drop downs are fine, right? You can't get away from that. But they had like all sorts of things hidden in these secondary drop downs, and I didn't even realize what this little arrow down here did until I started working here. So there's just a lot of hidden things on here. So what we redesigned the ribbons to be was bigger, bolder, more words for you to recognize the tools with, and things grouped together more with like type tools. Adding more land effects tools right up front and center so you didn't accidentally use, say, the AutoCAD hatch when you had FX hatch right there available to use. We got a lot of support calls with people being like, my hatch isn't doing land effects stuff. So this was one way to help with that. Or people who were using FXCAD and didn't even realize that the FX hatch was better than the regular AutoCAD hatch. So that's all kind of organized in here. A lot better, really giving focus to the most used tools. And one of the biggest things was then bringing that quick access toolbar down to the bottom and loading it up. Kind of taking the things that people used to love about the toolbars and the benefits of using a ribbon, which has great features for customizing the information available here, but also having those F1 tooltip links, the hover tooltips and the F1 shortcuts, bringing all of them together into kind of the perfect harmony for what is helpful for new and old users alike. Using shortcuts, of course, like hotkeys, like PL for polyline is always going to be fastest, but this is really helpful while you are getting up to speed with those. And then one thing though is, oh, I was going to say it actually on the last slide, so I'm going to go back up, was one of the big things that we have available for these ribbons is our trainer series. Now we just released at the end of last year the basic CAD trainer. It is 60 videos. They're 90 seconds each. They are fine-tuned to each individual basic tool and task. I'll show it a little bit as we go through, and we are on track to get the intermediate CAD trainer, so the continuation of that with another 60 videos out by the end of this year. So it's all focused on the ribbon, but also trying to teach shortcut keys to make you the best drafter possible. Really, really handy for new people in your office. So we're trying to make CAD not just easy for you, but easy for you to train other people in your office how to use it correctly. That's what we're trying to do. All of it together just makes it perfect. You can use that trainer, by the way, even if you don't have FXCAD. It works very well, even if you're not using our ribbons. The big question existing FXCAD users would probably have is why bother going through the process of installing? First off, it's not that long to install. Like I said, you're going to be done pretty quickly, but also getting into that habit of always getting yourself into the next year each year allows you to have more incremental adjustments to the changes that are coming at you. We frequently get people who are switching after 5 years saying, oh my God, everything's changed. I don't even know where anything is. Why do you guys always change everything like this? I like everything's different. I don't like this. And you're putting up your walls and you're shutting everything out. This really helps with that because it's just a few things every year. And you're like, okay, that's little. Okay, that's little. You can handle it. It's more bite-sized chunks. So, it also allows you to have, well, you already have that consistent budgeting with the subscription. So that's really important for those 2021 to 2023 people to upgrade. So we have that lower upfront cost with the subscription, which makes it easier to add or drop licenses year to year with staff changes. But then we also have making sure that you upgrade your FXCAD version so that when people are trying to access all of our training videos that are so helpful, that they are actually looking at ribbons that match theirs. You'll also have the same version that our support staff is using, so it helps us help you. So often I get to a thing where I'm like, if you had 2025 or 2026, you'd be able to do this, but I guess you have 2022, so try and hobble through this other workflow, but maybe consider upgrading. So that will help us. You probably will have less issues because you'll have all of those updates and new features. Yep. And then it also subconsciously encourages your office staff to keep up with computer maintenance if you just keeping up with everything and installing those updates. Okay, the fun stuff. Okay, second half of the webinar. What's new? Um, so this actually was new last year, but I just wanted to remind that if you are upgrading from 2024 or 2025 to 2026, you do so through the portal. So make sure that you are going to that portal address and making sure you have a login. You should already. And going through the guide that is in there, it will help you to download the correct files. And in one big mistake we frequently see is people trying to just Google search it and they somehow get themselves onto the server installation page, and then now they're uninstalling and reinstalling servers. And just follow this guide and it will just get you the FXCAD 2026 EXE and the workstation. But it also has that button to upgrade FXCAD, which you do need to do in order to get that serial number for 2026. Like I said, it takes up to 2 days. And the new features in 2026. So, I mean, it's so simple, but it's so nice, the things that are in here. Okay, so the first thing, now this happens every year, but this is actually a really big improvement. It's noticeable. There is a faster startup open, and there is faster file opening, up to 11 times faster. It really depends on the file, right? And what's in there. But in particular, it has an improvement to how it loads images on open. So those files in particular will load faster. So save yourself 30 seconds each day and find yourself a little happier and a little less frustrated having to wait. The next one, it's little, not too noticeable. There is some improved GPU text selection options. So you access this through the graphics performance. You can see the options there, but the long and short of it is TrueType fonts perform better. Now, this is good news, especially since last year we started adding into the workstation installer for all LandFX users, FXCAD or AutoCAD, those new exclusive to LandFX TrueType fonts. Here they are over here. If you haven't had a chance to see them, we have an architects.ttf. We are the only ones who have this. We made it. And then we also have graphite, this great architectural looking hand, kind of clean hand drafting. That's what we went for with these. Flux Architect Landscape Artichoke is one we made ourselves. And Chocolate Covered Raindrops is just fun for if that's your office vibe. And then the last one that I really want to show you because it's the coolest one and makes, besides the faster file opening, BSearch is worth the upgrade alone. It's really cool, and I'm excited about the possibility it opens. So it was formerly called BConvert, and you probably, if you were at my webinar last year, you remember me talking about BConvert and how you tell it what lines. You look for exploded line work and you select them, and then it finds all the lines in your drawing that match that shape, and then it converts them all to the same block name. Well, they made a big update where it now also recognizes text, and in particular, if that text is different from version to version to like instance to instance, it can automatically converts it to attributes. So I think this is totally worth having and would actually really help you, like even just to create simple blocks with attributes right off the bat. Like you don't need to use it for its intended purpose of cleaning up a survey file. You could just use it to quickly create an attribute block. So let's go look at those things. Okay, things are a little bit different. As you can see, again, I'm on a Mac. I am here in Parallels, and I am going to go over to FXCAD. This is the first time I'm actually going to open it because I told you it was a fast open. Let me just get my stopwatch ready. I have a little stopwatch I'm going to start over to the side just so that you can see it. I'm that confident. Let's go start. Okay, it's already going. And I clocked it at about 10 to 13 seconds, I think. So it's going a little bit. I'm going to make sure it loads all the way, and it's done. 15 seconds, it's open. So that's huge. That's not just them saying it's faster. That is actually faster. So I'm going to reset that, and we're going to open a drawing. Now this one's kind of a simpler drawing. So Uh, and I don't have FXCAD 2025 to kind of compare it to you, but you've seen me open this have you seen me open this in other webinars? I'm not sure. I usually already have it open. We're gonna go, and I'm just gonna ignore, and I think that's done. There it goes. Fast. Very, very fast. I wasn't sure how I was going to communicate that to you, but then I was like, just get a timer. It is actually faster. Once you time it, you realize. So try it out. Let me know how it works with your drawings, because just for me testing it so far, that claim is true. So the next thing, let's look at over to, I'm going to go to my FX admin actually and go over to that help. You can also type land effects, all one word, in the command line. But here's that trainer if you haven't seen it already, where we had that planting, irrigation, and details trainers in here before. I'm gonna close that. But now we have this CAD training and the intermediate is coming. This is just basics. 60 lessons. Most of them have the ability to confirm that you do the actual thing being taught in the video. And then once you're done it, you can cross it off the list. So it's very interactive. You can have it up to the side and then keep drafting in here and it will register it. So we also have this on our website, but if you open it like this here inside AutoCAD or FXCAD, it will actually track what you're doing and tell you when you do things correctly or not. So this is new. So far, it's been a huge hit with those who have started using it, especially students. Students are absolutely loving this. We've gotten some great feedback from students and professors on this. It's just really simple, easy to follow, not boring, encouraging, and also focused on landscape design. So it's got those examples that are relevant to you as opposed to, you know, mechanical parts. That is basically all those YouTube AutoCAD learning videos. Okay. So besides that, graphics performance, if we go over here to graphics performance and right click it and open that up, you can see I'm on Parallels, so obviously it will be different for you, but there is the, should be, usually I like putting this to intermediate mode, but this is basically where you will find those text options and as well that diagnosis that they introduced last year. Okay, and then the really cool thing. Let's show off the really cool thing. Search and convert, BSEARCH. So if I go over to insert, we have our regular items that we always have here in FXCAD, but then we have this search and convert. So one of the important things to know if you're coming from full AutoCAD is that FXCAD cannot access at this point Autodesk 360 or Autodesk Docs. So that's why we don't have the other convert tool in here, because that requires an Autodesk 360 and subscription and all of that. So, but search and convert do work and are pretty powerful. So I can go search and convert, and you can see here, this is my example. Maybe you got a survey or an old drawing where it has just simple circles, you know, for trees, and they are marked with their number from the arborist tag, for instance, in this case. So I can go in here, search and convert, and I'm just going to select the circle, the trunk, and the text. And this is just M text. Let me actually select it so you can see. I'm going to exit. So that's a circle. That's just M text. And this is a polyline. So let's go again and grab these and then right click. And it's looking through the drawing. And there it is. It's found all of them. And at this point, this is where you want to check your settings and make sure that if applicable, you include text variations. So you can, that's nice that they allow you to check or uncheck that, because maybe you don't want to keep the text that it's bringing in. So you can go through and you can kind of look through each one if you really want to, but at this point, you don't really need to. I can just go over to convert. And you can set it to a block you already have in your drawing, but the really big thing about this one is, making a new block for this, assuming that there isn't everything got exploded and even the block definition is gone. In this case, using the geometry center is probably going to be just fine, but of course you can pick, and then let's go ahead and snap right to that center. And again, include blocks. So if there's a block that you selected in here, it will nest that block as well, but I can define the attributes right here. So I'm actually going to change that attribute to say tag number, because that's what it is. And say OK. I can assign this block to a layer. So maybe I do an existing tree. I'm just going to add it to LP tree for now. And go ahead and convert. Bam, done. So let's have a look at this. Now we have 28 block references selected. They are all on the layer that I chose, and then they all have this attribute that it varies from block to block, and their name is survey tree, exactly what we told it to. So if I select this one, there we go, that tag number is 0154, and I can go in here. I can even at this point maybe even do a copy this guy over and go into this attribute and change it to something different. Of course, this is still a block, so you can now go in and block edit that to make improvements if you want to. So you can do that before or after doing this, obviously. But that's a really good block. It's an attribute, so this is, you can move this around. Very, very handy. So that is one new feature with this tool. I think I messed up and it, I think it snapped to the wrong point. Yeah, it totally snapped to a different point. Oh, I snapped over here instead of over here. So it takes a little bit getting used to, but very, very powerful once it's there. So let's see. What else was I thinking I could do with this? I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know. I would love to, I might make a power tip or something about that, how we can use this to its fullest potential, because I think it has a lot of potential, not just for cleaning up old drawings, but for actually making new blocks like very easily.
So Amanda, if I could interject here,
Yeah,
we have
do so,
a lot of
please.
people that ask for, how to create dynamic blocks or something with papers or stone pathways, and they gotta label them all different, unique to each stone that's being placed. So I bet that would be an
Mm.
awesome one to, if they have text next to each one of these little deals, to be able to drop those around and have them auto attribute and number themselves. Might be a cool one.
That would actually be really cool. There's so much potential here to just quickly start up that block creation process. Let's see. Oh, the last thing I wanted to just shout out one more time was those fonts. So if you have any of these ribbons installed at all, not just with FXCAD, but also with AutoCAD, you have access to those fonts. So if I go over here to the text manager and, oh, I was going to do it over here just so you could see them in context. I can, let's see, go in and find that plant call out and just so you can see what they look like. So this is the graphite standard, sorry. But by the way, Flux Architect is all caps only, just a heads up, but Graphite Standard and all the other ones that are unique to us all have lowercase as well. So if I go to chocolate covered raindrops and maybe make some end text and update, that's what that looks like in a plan. Let's go with What was the other one? Landscape artichoke, I love. Maybe bold. Let's go with bold. There we go. And if you think that looks just like the best handwriting you've ever seen, it's because it is. This is Paul's handwriting in our office. Uh, we all did. We all made our own font, but Paul's was like 10 times better than all of us.
I think I've got last place.
I know. I tried so hard. My handwriting is not as good as Paul's. But now all of you can be as good as Paul too. So yeah, you can even do like maybe a graphite standard narrow bold. Let's yes, and try that out. So you can really get that unique, professional, but still, you know, core landscape architecture, back to your roots, close to what your office standard is. We also have that architects as a TTF instead of the OTF because the OTF frequently malfunctions. Or I actually, I might have misspoke. I don't think it works in AutoCAD at all anymore. Right, the old architects was a shape one, and so you always had to share the architect shape file with everybody. I think that about covers everything of what's latest, greatest, and just always good about FXCAD. I don't know if there's any questions that anybody has that we can cover. If you haven't already, there is that Q&A box down at the bottom of the webinar that you can click and get a question in before we wrap it up. Jake, were there any that we should highlight?
Not specifically. One person did miss where the trainer was located at. If you want to show that again and even know, you can just type land effects in the command line and that pulls it up as well. But just showing right where that is exactly was one. Um, the other part that I wanted to touch base, and I might have missed it answering some questions here, but if you guys are dabbling in this text stuff and in these new fonts and whatnot, um, and are trying to fix your existing plans that may have been set to something else, make sure you understand the reat command. I don't know if we talked about that at all, but just as
Oh, yeah.
an update to any land effects font styles that are text styles that are in the drawing itself, reload all text styles will update to your current preference set. So just in case you maybe had a drawing that wasn't open that you needed to change those fonts as well, and you're like, hey, I already changed these fonts, and they're not. Reat is an awesome command.
And let's see. Yeah. Uh, I got a new one. I'm just seeing if there we go. If you hit F1 while hovering over any of our tools, it will go to the documentation page for that tool. So you can learn a little bit more about that REAT, reload all text styles command in that video right there, and then kind of see an overview of how that works. So yeah, that's great if you decide to change a bunch of your land effects default text styles to one of these nicer, arguably, fonts to then quickly correct any existing DWG files that all in one go. Cool. It looks like some questions are coming in. Let's just make sure that they, oh, just a thank
Oh,
you.
just a thank you, and Jeff saying that I'm quieter than you. I'm soft spoken, Jeff.
Yeah, we do the sound check before the webinars too, just to make sure the balance is there. I think
I
we were balanced before, so yeah,
I
Jake
think
is
we were.
just
I
maybe my
just
voice is too soothing. Did I soothe you into?
no. I was falling asleep. No, no. I may have moved my microphone, so I apologize, Jeff.
Great. And then if you guys have any questions at all about upgrading either from your perpetual license or from a subscription, that we can help like just clarify everything, please give us a call, send us an email, open a ticket, just ask us. We love to make sure that you understand exactly what all the terms are so that we know that you're clear and you're confident in your decisions, and that's what we just want you to be happy with the decision that you make. So we want to do everything we can to help you out with that. Uh, and oh, I just want to give a shout out. Brian mentioned in the chat that they hired a student right out of the OU MLA program, and that the trainer was a lifesaver for probably for, was that for teaching just the land effects tools, or did you also get a chance for them to learn more about the best CAD practices with the basic CAD trainer too? I don't know if Brian's still here. Just mainly land effects. Okay, well, do check out that the basic CAD trainer, and then the intermediate CAD trainer will be about the end of this year. So check that out and let us know how you like it. Okay, well, that looks like all the questions that have come in. Do you think we should call it, Jake?
I think we're
Let
good. This
let
sounds like a
everybody go for
good
Friday?
early Friday. Yeah, everybody can go home and take a nice afternoon nap
Yeah, tell
and
your
have a good
boss we
weekend.
let you go home early.
Yep. We have no legal bearing on that, but do what you want.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Love having you here every year to go through all this. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
guys.